This year at Art Basel 2025, a fresh wave of young artists are redefining what art can feel like, look like, and even sound like. These powerful voices are shaping the future, each with their own unique language. Let's take a closer look. Sagarika Sandaram, Kolkata-born, globally resonant. Sagarika Sandaram doesn't just make textile art, she creates worlds you can almost physically step into. Her work is textile storytelling at its most immersive. At Art Basel, she unveiled Released Form, a 12-meter-long sculptural wave made of hand-dyed felt and silk. It doesn't just sit in a gallery space, it stretches, folds, and curves like a living landscape, inviting you not just to look, but to feel. In a world dominated by digital screens and glassy perfection, her materials feels deeply human. You can see the labor in every thread, the intention in every curve. It's no surprise that Sagarika draws inspiration from her mother's collection of old sacks and the spiritual architecture of temples. There's a rhythm in her work, a kind of sacred geometry that speaks to memory, labor, and care. Her installations aren't about decoration, they are about immersion, warmth, and nostalgia. They ask, what if softness was a form of power? What if the materials we walk past every day, cloth, dye, thread, held the blueprint for something sacred? Akosua Victoria, Adu-Sanyah, Photography Unbound. Akosua Victoria Adu-Sanyah is not interested in pretty pictures. Her work is a quiet rebellion against everything traditional photography stands for. She exposes light-sensitive paper not in the dark room, but directly inside the gallery space, breaking the rules on purpose. She tears the paper, crumples it, distresses it, then mounts it into fragile skeletal frames. The result, glossy black surfaces with faint traces of portraiture that feels more like oil paintings on spiritual shadows. It's not just visual, it's visceral. The faint chemical scent of developer lingers in the air, like a memory not fully gone. Her art invites you to stand still and feel confused, curious, maybe even uncomfortable. This is photography that doesn't try to capture reality. It tries to stretch it, break it, and show what happens after the image fails. In her hands, photography is a ghost, a question, a riddle. At Art Basel, with the Cologne-based gallery John Cobbs, she continues to show us that photography can breathe, decay, shimmer, and speak if you let it. Justin de Verteuil, painting as memory, as mirage. Trinidad and Tobago born Justin de Verteuil paints like someone whispering a story you half remember from childhood. His art doesn't scream, it hums, it floats, it reveals itself slowly, like a photograph developing in a dark room. His figures, often faceless or silhouetted, stand quietly on balconies or beside boardwalks. Caught between light and shadow, they don't belong to one place or moment. They drift, like dreams, like memories. Justin describes his creative process as turning a radio dial, shifting back and forth between frequencies until he lands on the emotional truth of a scene. That explains the haunting stillness in his work. He's painting not just places, but states of mind. His newest series, shown at Art Basel 2025, focuses on thresholds, those in-between spaces where the inside meets the outside, where architecture becomes a frame for emotional experience. Think of a balcony at docks, or a shadow cast on a tide floor. His palette, rich in ochres, crimson, and bruised blues, makes every canvas feel like a moment suspended in time. Justin doesn't paint answers, he paints echoes. Felix Shumba, art as mourning, art as resistance. Felix Shumba doesn't flinch from pain. His work is a confrontation with history, with loss, with the ghost of violence that linger long after the guns have gone quiet. His Art Basel installation centers on a rarely spoken massacre, a 1977 raid on Zimbabwean liberation camps in Mozambique that left thousands dead, including women and children. But this isn't just history, it's personal. Felix builds a space of remembrance, a towering charcoal mural of twilight forest, shadowy oil paintings of soldiers, and a sound sculpture that whispers radio broadcasts, hymns, and poems read by grandmother. The effect is haunting. You don't just see his works, you stand inside it, and for a moment you carry what he carries. His art is a reckoning, a refusal to let history stay buried. Alexandra Metcalf's world feels like a gothic fairy tale rewritten by a feminist philosopher. Her rooms are filled with curved cribs, spiral staircases that lead nowhere, and ghostly girls in stripped stockings. But this isn't nostalgia, it's psychology warfare. Using sculpture, painting, and installation, Alexandra pulls from the language of domestic grandfather clocks, fine woodwork, stained glass, and turns it into something unsettling. She takes the craft once dismissed as women's work and reclaims them, weaponizes them. In her Art Basel presentation, she builds a strange, dark interior, a house of emotion, memory, and unraveling identity. Her art asks a question: what does femininity look like when it breaks free from the cage it was built in? Leda Bourgogna, fragments of drive you can't remember. Leda Bourgogna sees beauty in broken glass and chrome. Her newest work turns rearview mirrors, those small windows, into the past, into tall, reflective sculptures. Stacked and partially painted, they shimmer like dreams you can't quite place. They reflect, distort, and multiply light, like memories collapsing into each other. Leda is known for her textile installations, but here she steps into something harder and sharper. Still, her work remains deeply personal. At BQ's booth in Art Basel, her mirrors don't just reflect, they hold secrets. And beyond the fair, she's a nominee for this year's Swiss Art Awards. Proof that sometimes the quietest gesture are the most unforgettable. Monilola Olayemi Ilupeju. Every material is a message. For Monilola, art is never just about form, it's about history, bloodlines, and what we choose to carry forward. Born in 1996 and raised between Nigeria and the US, she stitches together personal memory with political commentary. In earlier work, she used cinder blocks like the ones her grandfather built his home with, leather that whispered of ancestry, bed sheets crowdsourced from strangers. At Art Basel, she introduces a massive birch tree made of felt, split down the middle, dividing the gallery space. It's soft yet powerful, symbolic of fertility, whiteness, gender, and the fragile ecosystem, social and experimental, and demand racial transformation. Her work feels like a scream. You don't hear it, but you feel it in your chest. Michele Graf and Selina Grüter. Machines that move but don't obey. Swiss artist duo Graf and Grüter creates kinetic sculptures that feel like the inner workings of a broken clock or a mind. They gather salvaged parts, gears, springs, old calculators, buttons, and assemble them into delicate machines that twitch, sway, or endlessly loop. Nothing they make serves a function, and that's the point. Presented by Italian gallery Fanta, their work doesn't tick to time, it dances with it. These mechanisms challenge our obsession with productivity, with linear time, with forward motion. Instead, they offer something quieter. Poetry in repetition, the beauty of things that just are. Their sculptures feel like breathing relics, alive, aimless, and deeply human. Armineh Negahdari, drawing the body in crisis. Armineh Negahdari draws like someone ripping truth out of skin. Her figures are twisted, wounded, almost too raw to look at, but you look anyway because she makes you. Inspired by political trauma and repression in Iran, her works channel the horror of living in a body that isn't safe. At Art Basel, she shows oil paintings, pastels, charcoal, and a series of bizarre soft sculptures that look like wounded bodies or growing tumors. They challenge how we think about form, flesh, and fear. Think Francis Bacon with a deeper pulse of grief. Armineh's work isn't decoration, it's a scream in a quiet room. Guillaume DeNervaud, a new world made of old dust. Guillaume DeNervaud is building a future from the ruins of the present. Born in Switzerland, based in Paris, his work blends the organic and the mechanical into something airy and visionary. Think science fiction with death under its nails. He uses handmade pigments from algae, plants, and minerals to paint delicate stenciled forms, half machine, half flower. These aren't post-apocalyptic, they are post-capitalist, quiet, strange, and deeply rooted in ecological storytelling. Presented by Galerica Costega and Antenna Space, his pieces feel like blueprints from a better timeline, a reminder that maybe, just maybe, nature will outlive us all. These artists don't just make beautiful work, they expand what art can be. Their stories are bold, raw, and deeply human. From textiles to time machines, soft sculpture to living collage, they are the future of Art Basel and the art world itself. Walk slowly, look closely, feel everything.